In the first video, I talked about the seismic shift taking place in American education. The old landscape has changed. The old maps are no longer reliable. Families who simply follow the conventional path may wake up in years from now and realize that they were walking by a map that no longer corresponded to reality. In the second video, I talked about the compass questions that parents need to ask. What is an education for? What kind of person is this education forming? What environment is best for my child? What is the curriculum and who is teaching and forming my child? Does this education cultivate virtue and wisdom? Does it teach my child to master words rather than be mastered by them? In this video, I want to answer the practical question, how do we actually do this? Because it's one thing to agree that children need a humane education, and it's another thing to build a school year for a real child in a real family with real limits. You may be persuaded that public education is not enough, and you may be persuaded that your child needs something more than job training, digital worksheets, ideological formation, and test preparation. You may be persuaded that your child needs a classical Christian education, a liberal education, a humane education, an education ordered toward truth, goodness, beauty, wisdom, and virtue. But then Monday morning arrives. The bills still have to be paid, the younger children still need attention, the teenager still needs accountability, the parents still have work, church, family, meals, appointments, and other obligations. And the question becomes very practical. What now? Let me offer a framework. The first step is to begin with the end in mind. Don't begin with the curriculum or the course catalog. Don't begin with the schedule. And don't begin with the fear that your child is for some reason behind. And don't begin with the panic that someone else's family seems to be doing everything better. Instead, begin with the end in mind. What kind of student are you trying to form? Or better still, what kind of human being are you trying to form? Here's the answer. A student who can read carefully. A student who can write clearly. A student who can reason soundly. A student who can speak truthfully and persuasively. A student who knows the scriptures, understands the great tradition, and can engage the world without being absorbed by it. A student who can love what is lovely, discern what is vicious or false, resist what is degrading, and pursue what is noble. That is the end that we have in mind. The second step is to choose the right educational environment for your family's actual season. For some families, that may be a full private classical Christian school. For others, it may be a homeschool model. For some, it may even be a hybrid model with live online classes and parental oversight. For others, it may be a charter school intentionally supplemented by serious Christian formation at home. The goal is not to pretend that every family can do the same thing. The goal is to refuse the false choice between doing nothing and doing everything. A humane education does not require you to rebuild the whole world yourself. It does require that you take responsibility for the formation of your child, however. And so the third step is to choose a course of study that is ordered and not scattered. One of the weaknesses of modern education is fragmentation. Students study history over here, literature over there, writing somewhere else, theology only if the school permits it, philosophy almost never, and science as though it were detached from wonder, creation, and moral responsibility. But reality is not fragmented this way. All truth belongs to the one truth. A better education helps students see the integrated nature of knowledge. It brings history, literature, theology, philosophy, science, music, art, and language into meaningful conversation. Said another way, the course of study should help students understand the world as cosmos rather than chaos. The fourth step is to make room for the liberal arts. Your child needs grammar, the disciplined command of language. Your child needs logic, the ability to distinguish truth from falsehood, validity from fallacy, and wisdom from manipulation. And your child needs rhetoric, the ability to speak and write with clarity, beauty, and persuasion. Your child needs mathematics, music, science, history, theology, literature, and the arts. But beneath all of it, your child needs habits of attention. And this is one of the great battles of our time. The world's not simply trying to persuade your child, it's trying to capture your child's attention and imagination. And with the proliferation of AI, it's also overtly trying to capture your child's cognition. Humane learning is ultimately a discipline of attention toward that which is worthy. The fifth step is to choose teachers, mentors, and communities who love the right things. A curriculum can be orthodox and still be lifeless. A syllabus can include great books and still fail to awaken wonder. A course can be academically rigorous and still be spiritually thin. Students need teachers who have been formed by the tradition that they teach. Teachers who love the books, love the students, love the truth, and understand that education is never mechanical or utilitarian. Remember, education is mentorship, discipleship, transformation. And so the sixth step is to build a sustainable plan. And this is where many families become discouraged. They see the ideal and then conclude that they can't reach it. But the better question is not, can I do everything? The better question is something I continually ask my adult children. What is the next faithful step? Maybe your family needs one excellent humanities course. Maybe your child needs a writing course with real feedback. Maybe your student needs Latin or logic or rhetoric. Or maybe you need a full schedule, a full diploma track. Maybe you need help building a transcript. Maybe you need live teachers who you can trust because accountability matters. And maybe you need a community because your child is hungry for serious-minded peers. Maybe you need a course that supports the parent without robbing them of their agency. And this is where a model like Kepler can be genuinely helpful. Kepler exists to help families provide live online classical Christian courses taught by qualified instructors without requiring every family to build an entire school from the ground up. It's not the only solution, and I don't want to pretend that every family needs the same thing. But for families who want a serious, humane, classical Christian education, families who want live instruction, meaningful discussion, excellent teachers, and courses that can fit into a homeschool or hybrid plan, Kepler may be exactly the right kind of resource that you've been looking for. Now, you don't have to choose between the exhausted default and the impossible ideal. There's a better path. You can begin with the end in mind. You can ask the compass questions. You can choose an environment appropriate to your family's season. And you can build a course of study that's ordered rather than scattered. You can make room for the liberal arts, and you can find teachers who love the right things, and you can build a sustainable plan. In the final video, I'm going to show families how to take the next step with Kepler, how to look at the courses, how to think about registration, and why it matters to act before the best seats are gone. The old maps are failing, the landscape has shifted, but families are not helpless. With the right compass, the right guides, and the right path, your child can receive a humane education in the 21st century.